Welcome back to Contemporary Black Voices, where our topic today deals with President Trump's order on homelessness and mental ill people. So, one of the questions that has been kind of floating around in my mind is, since we already know that this executive order is going to impact Black folks the most, because again, we make up 13% of the population, but we're 49% of the homeless population. So, Black churches, a lot of Black churches build these huge facilities. Okay. So, why not take these fellowship halls that are empty Monday through Friday and open it up to safe zones for homeless people? I just want to know.
Because you got the same problem, Black folks got the same problem as everybody else has. We don't want them around us. That's what the people are going to say. You don't want to do anything with them. You don't want to go over to the church and, you have them choir practice and you got all these people that's homeless or whatever. Now you don't want to go to church. Now you've affected the money from the church. I think the attitude has to change as to what we're going to do and where we're going to put them. But I think in answer to your question, we're the same as anybody else. We want to do something to help them as long as it doesn't come and affect us.
I mean, it's like this. We want to have this giant multi-million-dollar temple to God without doing God's work.
Right.
So that's the issue, and that's always been one of my biggest problems with the modern church. You know what I mean? So when I know I've said this repeatedly on this show, and I'll say it again. There's no way you can justify a $200 million building as long as anyone out there is homeless or starving, or you can't justify spending that kind of money on a building.
I know Joe Osteen in Houston got in trouble when when it was flooding or when the state was freezing, one of the two. And he would not open the doors to that church. Folks were trying to get in, and he would not open the doors to the church so those people had a safe place to go.
And at that moment, it stopped being the Lord's house.
And so, a lot of our folks are going to be impacted. We've got a lot of churches that sit in like in this community. We've got Hispanic families and Black families in this community, and we got sprinkles of white folks here as well. But we've got churches who have, again, huge fellowship halls that are, and maybe they can open the halls open at 10 o'clock at night to give the choir folks time to get out of choir practice and home, and open it up at 10 from 10 to 8, for example, the next morning. So these people have somewhere to stay.
That ain't happening.
Right. I was going to say the same thing. Let me say it again. We don't want it.
And I know we had talked a little bit off camera about my experience. That's what talk about my experience a little bit. So, I worked at a residential rehab many years, and a lot of those people that came in there, and I call them a lot of times I'll use the term kids because they were younger, and a lot of them came. They came in there. They had been living on the streets. They suffered through addiction, issues with family, throwing them out, whatever. They in and out of hospital, addiction. So, but once they got an opportunity to become sober, to be in a rehab for a little while, amazing folks, amazing kids, amazing life story, amazing talent. Some of the most wonderful folks you ever want to meet in your life. And so a lot of times, again, we equate homelessness with criminality, and that's not the case. You know what I mean? A lot of times that's not the case. And so there are other solutions. And I've been a part of those solutions, being in that rehab, allowing people the opportunity to get off drugs, allowing people to have counseling. Again, it was a residential facility, so we did transition them to what we call sober living. We helped them to find jobs. We helped reintegrate them back into the community. Extremely successful, low rates of recidivism. And so, there are solutions.
But the key to what you're saying is that there was a facility to help them.
Right.
And I don't see there being a facility now to help them.
And that's that. And again, it goes back to the point: why criminalize it when there are other solutions? You know what I mean? Instead of funding a system of over policing, because it's going to take law enforcement, and somebody's going to have to pay money for these mental facilities. You know what I mean? Or even build more mental facilities to house these folks. So instead of funding that, you know what I mean, there are other solutions.
But
But
please keep in mind, number one, this administration is whack. Okay, I'll just use that term.
Did you say whack?
Whack. Okay, and they say they want to do this because of criminology.
Right.
Okay, but that's not their real intent.
No.
And there's no reason for us to talk about it and allow them to continue to use terms just to be able to do that.
Right. This is one of the fallouts of the voting by the couch crew.
Mm.
So you voted by you voted from you voted the couch. You didn't go out and vote. I'm just gonna call a spade, and now that lack of action is going to impact the Black community hard. In that some of those folks who may get picked up may be your own family members who could be sent off to God knows where. You know, they could be sent off to Alligator Alcatraz on their way to whatever country that he wants to send them off to. So there won't be any rhyme or reason to this roundup other than the fact it will be no good.
Yeah. Well, and then also you have this administration has no problem. Well, first of all, an executive order doesn't trump a constitutional right, and so.
But we know that the executive order that he's doing, he's basically ignoring the Constitution.
Absolutely.
And the Congress, which I guess would be the Constitution. He just does what he wants to do.
So that's the slippery slope also. You know what I mean? Just going and rounding people up and arresting them based on an executive order and committing someone who doesn't want to be committed based on an executive order, that's troublesome legally. First of all, that is troublesome. But at the same time, it also becomes a slippery slope, because in what other ways could this executive order be applied?
So you were talking about, is it just homelessness? But the vagrancy laws are going to start being applied more, because we live in the same general area. And I see this one man all the time for the last 4 years working the streets. So I finally saw him coming from a subdivision further down the road. He was coming out of the subdivision. So his vagrancy, his homelessness appearance is a job. Is a job. And then at the end of the day, I've seen him walking back up the highway, up to going home. And so you got people who are on the streets, and then you have a lot of veterans on the streets who have, well, they may not now who have or had access to services, who won't go get the services.
Right. But you know, and just say something. So when I worked at the residential rehab, the owners wanted to build a special facility just for veterans. During the course of that research, we learned that they couldn't, because the government would charge the veterans for misappropriation of government funds or misuse of government funds, because the veterans who were getting their check from the VA, if the government realized that they were using these for drugs, they would charge them for misuse of government funds. So we couldn't even help the veterans for fear of criminal prosecution. So yeah, there's definitely something wrong with the system, and the system is definitely broken. When you can't even help.
And this administration is taking advantage of what you're saying in the disguise of we're trying to clean up the criminalization in the country, which is not the case.
No.
If they had the right intent, then I could be all for them.
Right.
Okay. But the problem, because right now you don't have a place where they can go.
Right.
That facility that you're talking about, you don't have a place they can go.
Right.
Taking them to Alligator Alcatraz is not a solution to me.
Right.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to come back and wrap up our discussion about Trump's order and about the homelessness.